Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Just Prim podcast. Today's episode was going to be with a special guest, and we were going to discuss the Indian culture and some other things that have come up from people while we've been live to discuss a few things. But while we were planning for that today, this morning, Long Island Audit, Sean Reyes was arrested while doing an audit. Before I fill you guys in, let's get Brittany in here so we can kind of get this started. Hey, Britt, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm a little bit like my brain is buzzing because I made a bunch of connections in my investigation today, but it's a good tired.
Yeah. It's been a long day. I can tell. You've been up since early going at it.
Yeah.
But before we talk about Long Island Audit, he was arrested this morning. And I think he actually, right before I was about to get on, like a few minutes before, I saw that he was going to be going live to discuss it too. So everyone check it out. It seems like he has been released from prison. Just for everyone that's new to Long Island Audit, just to give you a little input into it, Sean is a First Amendment auditor. I came across his channel a couple years ago, early on in his First Amendment auditing. When I came across his channel, I really liked his channel. I thought he was doing a great job, and I learned a lot from him regarding the First Amendment, our speech, how do we exercise it, why we should exercise our speech, and test the systems and everything else like that. I had watched a bunch of different other videos from other YouTubers, First Amendment auditors, and again, everyone has a right to freedom of speech and do what they want to do. So it was always interesting to see those, but a lot of those people would get into fights, arguments, and it just didn't seem like it was too productive to me. So I didn't watch them much until I came across Sean. Like I said, Sean is a tall guy. He goes around with a camera. He goes to public places. He records public officials doing public duty, and basically tests our system out. And sometimes the cops do not know how to act. Majority of the time, the cops do not majority. From the videos he posts, a lot of them, the cops do not know how to act, but some do. And he's just shed great light on First Amendment auditing. While he's done that, he's been arrested numerous amount of times. He's been charged with crimes, misdemeanors, felonies. Then there have been so far, majority of those have been dropped. They usually string it along, take them to court, spend a year long worth of going back and forth, and then already drop the lawsuit. And do things, tactics like that. He's won many times. He's actually challenged New York City police for not allowing people to record, and he was arrested multiple times. He filed a lawsuit for getting rights to be able to record, saying what the New York City police is doing is unconstitutional. His filing was actually, the judges ruled on it and did rule that the New York City Police Department was wrong, that people could record in police precincts and police stations, and the New York City Police law was wrong regarding that. But that was challenged. That was appealed by New York City Police Department, and it went to appeals court. Then there was a hearing to see. It was, I don't remember what the hearing was called, but it was to decide quickly on what should happen with the law. Should the appeals court be held up, or in the meantime, would people be able to practice their First Amendment rights? What the court ruled while they're pending the appeal being heard and ruled on, the court ruled that Sean is allowed to go into police stations and record, but everyone else is not yet until it's been until the case has been decided on. So Sean does a great job fighting for our First Amendment rights. Today, he was in New York City. We have a quick video. He was in New York City. He went to go investigate a mayor, and basically he was arrested. We can watch this video. Most of this video has been cut up just to make it quick. And also, you should go to Sean's channel. It's Long Island Audit to actually see the full video. Without further ado, we'll start the video. You'll see Sean start the video like he always does, and you'll hear what he does. And then basically, I cut out everything until his interaction with the security officers and police officers starts. But what you will see is he has conversations with many people. He goes into different offices, talks to them. Some of them say, "Oh, don't record me," and then he says, "But I can," and then they don't do anything. It seems a very peaceful and civil until these security guards, cops, or rent-a-cops, whatever you call them, show up and basically try to enforce their will. So without further ado, let's get it started.
Back again with another video, reporting to you live from City Hall here in Schenectady, New York. We're here to investigate Mayor Gary McCarthy. I received numerous tips regarding allegations of corruption and tyrannical behavior here, so I wanted to come out and check it out myself and go live with each and every one of you. Very beautiful City Hall here. Remember, our goal is to promote transparency and accountability within our government and peacefully exercise our First Amendment right. Never to harass anyone or anything of that nature. You all should know me by now, but so we're going to see if we can make an appointment to speak with Mayor Gary McCarthy, and we are going to submit a FOIL request. Excuse me, sir?
No videotaping in the building, it's like New York Master Security, right?
Can I get your name? I can't get your name and badge number, sir? Are you not long?
And this is at fast speed. So anyone that wants to watch it, go watch it on Sean's channel or on here. You can speed the slow down. I made it fast so we could get through it quickly on this channel.
So what's going on so far is Sean's trying to make an appointment to speak with the mayor.
Yep, and he's already gone and talked to the mayor's office. He's talked to a couple other people, and there has been no problems. Now he's just in the hallway looking at an office, and then all of a sudden this guy just shows up
and says, "You can't record in here." And Sean's like, "What's your name?" And the guy just walks off.
Yep, that's where we're at.
Your shirt says Schenectady Police.
The shirt said NYPD Police, I think, just to clarify the caption. Right?
Yeah, the captions are quick captions, so some of them might be wrong, but it is New York Police.
Okay. Because the caption said Connecticut.
They know all of them are the same. Corrupt a kid in New York.
True.
Excuse me, officer, can I get your name? Can I get your name, sir? I just wanted to know where you got the authority to tell me that.
It looks like Phil Janusa back there.
This guy doesn't knock down trees.
Can you expound on what he was telling me? You're saying
Executive orders by the mayor's office.
executive order by the mayor's
Right,
office,
that says no videotaping from this point forward, except for public hearings.
except for public hearings. So what are the consequences? Where does the mayor get the authority to do that?
It's executive order, executive law.
Executive order?
If you want to talk to the mayor's office, you can talk to him about it.
Okay.
You have to ask him to stop, and if you don't, you have to ask him to leave. You can stand over here if you want.
So they're saying it's an executive order that's going to make it so that Sean cannot record in this building. And Sean said, "But what authority gave the mayor to do that?" And the cop's like, "It's an executive order." But what he doesn't seem to understand is that there is no executive order that can override the United States Constitution. It's the supreme law of the land. You cannot make an executive order overriding it. And I don't understand why these stupid ass towns keep doing that.
Yeah, no, it's and the cops a lot of times don't even understand that. They don't understand that you can't just place a rule just to place a rule and not go through proper process. Go through a proper process. Someone can't just decide to be like, "Oh, it's our policy to do this," and then enforce it in public domain, in public offices. Private businesses.
Well, in particular, where it conflicts with the Constitution, like they can make some rules, but if the rule goes in contravention or like contradiction to our rights from the Constitution or a federal law, then mayor can not override that. So they can make a rule, they can make an executive order, like they can make like every Friday free donut day or something. But they can't take away our rights with an executive order, which is effectively what's being done here.
Agreed.
This is a public building though, right? This is not a restricted area of any kind?
Yes, under the executive order of the mayor, he has the authority. There's Supreme Court decisions, other court decisions to set that up.
He has the authority to eliminate.
He's citing some Supreme Court decision, but he is, in fact, for certain, absolutely without any question or no shadow of the doubt, wrong. He's just wrong. He's false and he's wrong.
The First Amendment journalist. Right. Right. Okay, thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Yeah, I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to turn it off.
He's saying turn off. I'm just repeating some of it because I'm not sure like what's coming through on the captions and stuff, but the cop's like, you can go do, you know, what you need to do or whatever, but you cannot record. And Sean's like, okay, bye. And he turns around and he keeps recording and he says, I'm not going to turn off the camera.
It's for my protection. It's for my, it's my rights, or it's just me investigating the city hall here.
Well, you have to turn it off. We have to ask you to leave.
Sir, I'm here conducting business. I'm investigating.
I understand what you're saying. By this order, you're considered to be trespassing.
How can I trespass in a building that's funded by taxpayers?
Because the executive order says, from this point forward, you can't do anything. If you do, we have to ask you to leave. If you refuse, then you're considered trespassing.
Well, sir, I'm not going to give up my constitutional rights. I'm a member of the press. I'm a journalist. I'm recording for transparency and accountability while I'm conducting my business. I'm just documenting my business that I'm conducting here in City Hall. Why is the mayor afraid of cameras?
You have no response to the other.
I don't understand why the mayor would be afraid of cameras. Is the mayor in today? Because I would like to get a copy of that order for sure.
So Sean, it sounds like Sean doesn't even know about this executive order's existence. He's like, can I have a copy of it? Where is it?
See the vehicle. Well, that doesn't mean anything.
Okay.
No.
All right. Thank you.
Before you guys stop.
Sir, I thought I made myself clear. I'm
I'm
not.
making myself clear. It's an executive order. You can't.
But respectfully, sir,
So he's citing an executive order and he's saying, I made myself clear. It's an executive order. And Sean's like, okay, can I have a copy? Can you show me that it even exists? And it doesn't. Or maybe it does, but the copy.
No, it does seem like it exists, and they tell him to get it from the mayor's office. It does seem to exist, but it's just, is it constitutional? Can that policy be enforced?
No, it's not constitutional, but they might try to enforce it because they don't know how to act over there.
it's Constitution and our constitutional rights.
It's cited in the executive order.
It absolutely does.
Yep.
How does it do that?
It's your Supreme Court decisions.
Do you mind if I'm going to go upstairs?
He just keeps quoting some Supreme Court thing, but he's just wrong and stupid. And that's why he's not very confident with it. He don't really know what he's talking about.
And take a look at
You
those.
can take a look at it right here. There it is, executive order. That's our copy. You can look at it. But you have to stop recording. And
Sir, this is my First Amendment right. I'm not trying to harass anybody or be.
I totally understand what you're saying, and I get what you're saying.
I'm not trying to be difficult with you.
This is an executive order.
I'm here to file a FOIL request, freedom of
You can
information,
do
law
that.
request.
If you want to
Thanks,
explain
and
the
I will do
sources,
it.
okay?
Okay, sure, go ahead.
This is an executive order. It's drawn by the city. It's been approved. They cite cases. And this is the way it is. If you want to go before the request, then you can, but you can't record beyond security. If you want to stand there and record this area, that's acceptable.
Well, what's the reasonableness of it? What is the purpose? Is it just because the mayor doesn't want it?
You know what? You have to ask the mayor about that.
Right, okay, so I'm going to go ask the mayor,
You
okay?
can't record, sir.
So I'm just going to go ask the mayor and conduct my business,
You
okay?
can't record. You're being asked to leave. You're being asked to leave. If you continue to record, you have to leave.
So I'm going to go conduct my business. I have a FOIL request. I have a First Amendment right to access information.
I understand that.
Right.
But
I'm
you're
just
violating,
documenting that.
you're violating executive order. We're telling you, you can't do that.
But that executive order violates the Constitution,
No,
sir.
it doesn't.
I know that it does. I know that it does,
Okay,
sir.
well, now I'm going to ask you to leave.
So I'm going to go conduct my business.
You can
and I'm
turn your
here. I have a
camera
FOIL.
The man could use some de-escalation techniques.
Yeah, no, it's crazy how quick they get hyped up. Their cortisol
Over a
levels
camera,
are through.
everybody has in their pocket.
And the other thing is, someone can have glasses with a camera on it. You can't do anything about it. People can hide a camera. Cameras exist in like every type of gadget now. So, how are
And I
you gonna
guarantee
enforce
you
it?
there's cameras all over the hallway in that place. I guarantee you Sean was on camera from them. That's our
Yep.
footage too. It belongs to us.
Yep.
I want to submit a FOIL request.
You gotta leave.
I want to submit a FOIL request,
You
sir.
can't. All right, this is fine. You have to leave.
I have business
Turn it
to
off.
conduct here, sir.
Well, it's fine, but you can't record beyond the security point.
So I'm recording as a journalist. I'm taking some pictures of video,
And
documenting my experience
if
as
you
a
read the
journalist.
executive order, it was to outline the guidelines for that to take place. So you can either record from over there, or turn it off, go do your FOIL. Police are
I
on the
just want to
way.
conduct, that's fine. The police could be on the way. That's fine.
You can't. You can't.
Oh, these aren't even police. These are just like you said, they're rent-a-cop types.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if they were cops or rent-a-cops.
He said police are on their way.
But it does say police on their polos or whatever they're wearing.
Oh.
You can't
So I would
record.
appreciate it if you didn't get in my way in any way. please.
I'm telling you, you have to leave.
So I would appreciate it if you didn't get in my way.
You're
I'm
now
not-
trespassing, you have to leave. If you don't leave, you'll be arrested for trespassing.
Sir, I'm just trying to conduct my
And
business
I understand
and
that.
leave.
And you know what?
I want to conduct my business
You're
and leave.
violating the executive order by the mayor. I've asked you to not record.
I understand that,
In
sir.
compliance with the order, you're refusing, so now you have to leave.
Yes, sir. I
If
just
you
want to
don't
conduct my
leave,
business and
you'll be
leave.
arrested for trespassing.
Right, so I just want to conduct my business and leave. That's all I want to do. I want to document my
You have to leave.
experiences, record my government officials, which is my First Amendment right, government officials in the course of their
Sean
duty as I'm
stays
conducting my
very
legitimate business here.
calm
I'm not just walking.
throughout this process. Sean always. That's the best thing about Sean. Sean will stay calm and peaceful for the most part, not get loud, not fight, not he will go back and make them defend their positions and ask them questions and everything, but he's not fighting with them. He's not there to fight. He's trying to get them to just realize that they're wrong. And a lot of times they don't, and their ego gets in the way, and what we're going to see happens.
I have legitimate business to conduct, sir. I have legitimate business to conduct here.
You cannot conduct your business without recording it. I'm sorry, that's the executive order, so your choice is turn it off or leave.
Sir, I'm just trying to conduct my business. That's all. I want to just do my FOIL request, and then I'll be on my way. I've already spoken to the mayor's office. I've already given my information for the set up an appointment to speak. I'm investigating the mayor. That's why I'm here.
Okay.
I'm investigating the mayor. I've received numerous allegations of corruption and tyranny here from the mayor, and I just wanted to investigate them. I went to the mayor's office, spoke to his secretary, set up an appointment. My other goal is to do a FOIL request for some documents I need for my story, so I just want to go take care of that, and I'll be on my way.
You can't record while you're here.
But sir, that doesn't make any sense. It's a First Amendment right to record government officials in the course of their duty.
The executive order is there.
I understand about the, sir,
Oh my God. It's like he just keeps saying the same thing. It's like the NPC is only programmed to do like 6 responses, and one of them is you can't record here.
Well, can I get your name? I didn't get it.
Wager.
Wager. Also, Wager, I did not. I understand that there's an executive order in place. I've seen it. I'm of the belief that that executive order is in direct violation of the United States Constitution.
Okay.
I have the right to record government officials. There's Supreme Court case law on it. Federal case law. I have the right to record government officials in the course of their duty. People v. Leonard. I'm allowed to be here, and there's a New York State Court of Appeals case that says that the government cannot use the trespass laws in order to violate a statutorily or constitutionally protected activity. And that's a New York State Court of Appeals case. People v. Leonard, sir. So that is my belief after consulting with my attorneys. That's what I was told, that the government here, and especially the mayor, there's no legitimate purpose. You haven't even explained to me a purpose on how does filming, am I causing a disturbance of any kind, or?
You're violating executive order.
But filming doesn't I'm not causing any disturbances. I'm peacefully filming.
You are, and you know, I'm telling you.
I've raised my voice with you, sir.
You're absolutely not. I appreciate that.
And it's like, what's to stop him tomorrow from saying no women allowed in this building?
Yeah, no, it's if you just let people make these type of laws and rules and everything, at any moment they can decide whatever. And that's what people don't seem to realize, like even cops or other people that argue, oh yeah, this is executive order or the mayor passed it. It's like tomorrow, if the mayor passes executive order saying no Indians allowed, no people with turbans allowed,
Right.
and he puts that order down, will the cop enforce that, or will the rent-a-cop at the front, would he enforce it? No, they wouldn't, because that's clear as day, because everyone's there.
I think he might.
They actually might. Some of them, I actually do like cops. I have no issues with cops, and I think there is a lot of great cops out there, and then there's bad ones, like everything else. But
I'm talking about this guy right here. I think he would just follow any order.
he might, but it's still, a lot of people would be able to see the difference. Like, hey, the mayor can't put this executive order into place, like banning people because of their sex, race, gender. So this is same type of right that we have. This is our First Amendment right. So people don't seem to understand that you can't do that. They seem to confuse First Amendment versus other rights, and they don't think it applies the same way.
That's the order that we have to go by. I informed you of it, and I'm informing you of the consequences, okay?
Would you enforce an order that said, people of a certain skin color couldn't be here, whether they're white,
I'm a psychic. That's exactly what I was thinking, Sean.
black, and anywhere in between? Would you enforce that order, sir?
Enforcing this order that's in place.
But you're saying you're enforcing it because it's an order from your mayor. But would you enforce any order from your mayor? Do you just take orders and just say, you know what? Are you law enforcement?
No.
So you took an oath to uphold the United States Constitution and defend our constitutional rights, right, sir? So that's all I'm telling you, is that I'm trying to do
I
that
fully understand
peacefully.
what you're saying, but I'm telling you, that's what we have, and that's this order.
I see what you're saying. The Constitution exists, but no.
So you're willing to enforce an unconstitutional order,
I
sir?
don't know if it's unconstitutional, to be honest with you.
That's fine. I mean, I'm telling you, I'm citing case law to you. New York State Court of Appeals, people be Leonard, that the government cannot use the trespass laws in order to remove people who are engaged in statutorily or constitutionally protected activities. So that's why I'm just trying to. I have the right to access FOIL documents. The FOIL documents here. Right, we're clear. So me holding a camera right in front of me, not bothering anybody, not raising my voice, I'm not breaking any other laws, I'm not breaking any laws whatsoever. You know, I might be in violation of the mayor's order, but I'm not breaking any laws. I'm being very cordial with you. I've been cordial with everybody I've come in contact with, sir. So I just want to go about my business and then I can leave.
And I totally understand. Again, the order says you can't film in here. No one can film in here without prior permission.
Okay, so what happens if I just go upstairs and finish my business and leave?
I'm asking you now because you refuse to turn the camera off to leave. So if you refuse to leave, it's going to be a trespass.
But you don't have the authority to tell me to leave the building.
Well, and according to the
Executive order, you do, right? Okay, according to that executive order, you do. But sir, there's federal, state case law on you don't have authority to remove somebody from a building, a public building that's engaged in a constitutional or statutory protected activity. I'm doing both. You said you're law enforcement. I'm recording you. That's protected activity under your state law and the Constitution, as well as I'm trying to just gather some documents. I don't want to harass anybody. I don't want to get into any big deal with anybody. I just want to go get my FOIL. I want to do my FOIL request, as is my statutory right here in New York State, and I'll be on my way. I'm not here to hang out all day. I'm here to gather documents. I was looking for the area to do the FOIL request.
So that shows right there, in my opinion, he's not there to cause a disturbance, and he's saying what he's intending to do, what his stated business is. He has legitimate business there. I mean, I just can't see how they legally are able to stop him.
Yeah, and none of this is legal advice, but
that too.
right, but still, like, just based on standard out there, you don't even need to be doing anything in that building. Ever since 2020, they've put in all these rules, all this stuff, sign in this, that. But
Right.
technically, to access our public services that are open to the public, that are not behind restricted walls, you should be able to go there and witness and get those services. So he doesn't even need to have a cause to be there. He could be looking at the poster boards. He could be looking at the windows. If it's open to the public, it's a public domain. You have a right to be there. But he was there to set up an appointment with the mayor, to FOIA request stuff. So he actually had even actual tasks that he had to complete, and he wants to document it on camera.
What's the
Right, sir. So I'm gonna go do my FOIL request and I'll be on my
You
way.
gotta turn it off.
But sir, this is my right, sir. I can't
I
turn it off.
understand
It's
what
my
you're
right.
saying. Executive order says no filming beyond the security point.
But there's no reasonable,
And I'm asking you
reasonable
to
time,
turn
place,
it
and manner
off or
restrictions.
leave. If you don't turn it off and you refuse to leave, you'll be arrested for trespass.
Hi, sir. How are you? You mind if I get your name and badge numbers, please?
Yeah, I'll get you in a second.
He goes to film.
Why does he have to get him in a second? Why do these cops, it's like part of their mind control training where they have to be in control. Like, give me your name and badge number. It's not a second for what? Shut up, stop talking, and tell me who you work for, who pays your salary, what you're doing here, and what your name and badge number is. Identify yourself. How do I even know this is a real cop? Like, that's why those laws exist. That's why those policies exist.
Yeah, no, cops should be identified on themselves because, like you said, how do we know it's someone not wearing a uniform? Like, what authority do you have to talk to me like that? So, and most police jurisdictions and stations and have rules in place themselves that say that the police officer has to identify them. Majority of the places. So it's usually their own policy, and a lot of times the officers don't even follow that.
I advise him to executive order no filming beyond the security point. I asked him to turn it off. He's saying it's constitutional right, doesn't have to. I advise him if he refuses to turn it off, he'll be arrested for trespass. I asked him to leave. He's not leaving. He's been peaceful about it, but he's refusing to leave and follow the
He was peaceful.
No filming things pushed.
Well, that's going to hurt their lawsuit.
Yep, and I gave a copy of the security executive order.
Right. So can I get your name, badge number now, sir?
Yeah, I'm Officer Burke, Badger 4.
Officer Burke, and your name, officer? Thank you. I appreciate it. My name is Sean. I'm an independent journalist. I'm investigating some allegations on the mayor here in Schenectady, trying to get some documents. I already went up to the mayor's office and scheduled an appointment to see him. That was one of my goals. My next goal is to do a FOIL request, but they're saying that I cannot film in the building, apparently, according to this mayor's executive order. I believe that order to be, based on my speaking with attorneys and my personal research, that order to be unconstitutional, as well as it's a violation of case law. People be more, you cannot trespass somebody from a public building, as it's New York State Court of Appeals.
From my understanding, I would agree. It's unconstitutional and also violates the case law precedent.
Opinion, unless they are engaging in some type of tumultuous behavior that's making, he says I'm being peaceful, that's, disrupting business or anything like that. I want to conduct my business and get out of here.
Yeah, right. Can't interrupt business.
Right.
Which includes, sometimes if you're filming employees while they're in the job, it makes them uncomfortable.
Well, I'm not respecting, sir. I'm not responsible for everybody's feeling.
Making someone uncomfortable doesn't mean disrupting business. That's not what that means. These cops just want to slip the slope to take every right we have.
Past you, right?
Yeah. I'm not. I don't. My responsibility is not anybody's feelings. Anybody can feel. They can look at me and look at my face and feel uncomfortable. I don't know, but I'm just trying to conduct my business here. And he's saying that I'll be trespassing the building. So if I don't stop recording or don't leave the building, are you going to arrest me?
So based off of the no filming, which is posted before the security checkpoint, and your advisement, if you don't stop filming and
Oh, here's the sassy pants escalating.
refuse to leave, then you'll be charged with trespassing.
Also, you're gonna have to go ahead and do that.
I'm sorry, I can hear you.
I'm sorry. You're gonna have to go ahead and do that, sir.
Okay. So then I'm just having to put down your phone. So we don't break it.
So then they proceed to arrest him.
Yep. They go arrest him. Just before we even start discussing just what happened, the reason why I like Sean and I like his way of auditing is I think he has a similar stance to that I do, that not all cops are bad, that there's good cops, there's bad cops, and there's not informed cops out there. So his goal is to highlight good cops, expose the bad cops, and teach the cops that don't know the law and First Amendment rights. Teach them, and a lot of times the cops do learn and they're taught, and he doesn't get arrested. So the reason why I like Sean is he goes at it with, hey, we got to teach, we got to make people aware, but not all cops are bad. And I agree with that. Not all cops are bad. Whenever something's going wrong, we need them. So I do think cops should be respected, but in order to get that respect, you have to put that respect out. So they should respect the public. They should do what their job is there to do. And if they do that, then people will respect them too, for the most part. So that's why I watch Sean, because he actually does that. He does respect cops. He does go to police stations. He's done training with police. He's had police officers on his channel. So he is not anti-police. He's pro-democracy. He's pro-First Amendment and teaching people. So with that being said, what are your thoughts just on the overall video?
I mean, I kind of gave them pretty much as we went. I know for certain, it's not a question, it's not a doubt in my mind. I know for certain that it's unconstitutional for a mayor to put in some type of executive order which would take away a constitutionally protected right from someone, or which would infringe upon it, or even conflict or contradict with it. So in my opinion, Sean has the right to peacefully record in this building. Many reasons for that. We're already being recorded in that building, and presumably we have rights to that footage. Sean, I don't believe, has the right to go behind the counters and film in the, file cabinets, or film up close to anybody's truly personal, private information. But recording his interaction with a mayor or with a mayor's office with the goal of trying to get an appointment with that mayor is absolutely within the course of the mayor's duty, absolutely something the public has an interest in seeing. And so in my opinion, it is a First Amendment protected activity to record those interactions. And I think that this was an unlawful arrest. I think that I'm looking at Sean's page right now, and he's got a video out called Unlawful Arrest Update, Federal Lawsuit Incoming. And I think he has grounds for a federal lawsuit, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, it's looking at this video, it's a lot of times people's egos just coming in place, right? Sean tries to give him the chance. And here I think the reason why Sean does this highlights a perfect example. There's allegations against the mayor. I'm not aware what the allegations are, but there's allegations against the mayor, and Sean is going to go document it. Let's say he doesn't record, he doesn't have a camera. What if they say he did something that he didn't, and they try to blame stuff on him? The reason why these rules exist is so we can interact with our publicly elected officials or our public servants, and be able to document our interactions with them, to be able to have evidence. So it's like, if you don't record, then stuff can be said. It's like the best thing to have these recordings. And a lot of times people are out there saying, well, why does he do this? Why does he have to do this? And I think Sean said it once, I heard him say it, and I think he's said it many times, is if you don't use your rights, you will lose them.
That's
If someone doesn't go challenge and says, oh no, there's no need to go record, I don't think Sean enjoys recording or being there. It's a lot of work. It takes a lot of time. It's a lot of effort. But if you don't go use your rights, then you won't test them. And if you don't test them over time, it just becomes a norm. People just start believing, hey, I don't have any of these rights because I've been told no. So if someone really does understand the law and understands their rights, they should enforce them if they can, and if they have the stomach for it and the time, effort, and money, because it can get very expensive and tedious. But if people that can use their place in the world to enforce their rights and test the Constitution for us, I think it's a phenomenal thing. I think him testing it, most of us wouldn't be able to do this. He goes out there and he puts his life on the line. You never know what can happen. And he does a great job, truly. And I think it's something to be commended. So we'll be getting into the next topic. But before we get into the next topic, if you haven't been to Sean's channel, it's Long Island Audit. You should go check out the channel. There's a lot of videos on there. There's a lot of stuff. He's exposed a bunch of corruption. He's gone to police stations. He's taught at police stations. He's done a lot just for our First Amendment rights. So if you haven't checked him out, you should definitely check him out on his channel. He has great content over there. So before this happened, today's podcast, we were actually going through what we should talk about, and my cousin was over yesterday, and we were looking at family pictures, and we were going through old pictures that I got back from India, our childhood pictures, and we were basically discussing, it's crazy how much the culture has changed, how much stuff has changed from the time that we were kids or came here as immigrants, early on in our lives, our parents not speaking English, not knowing much, and them really spending time to learn and grow, and how much culturally we've changed ourselves, our parents, some for the good, some for the bad, it's all over the place. So it was like, hey, why not have a discussion on the channel about cultural things that have happened over the years just for us, and have Brittany join in and maybe ask questions, give her input, and just go from there. So with that being said, let's see if we can get Simi on the chat.
Hey guys.
Hey, what's up?
Hey.
What's up? I moved around about 20 times trying to find the perfect lighting because both of you look so angelic, but yeah, it's just a gloomy day, and unfortunately lighting is not my greatest achievement in this apartment. So, but anyway, how are you guys?
We're
Good.
doing well.
Good. Happy Monday. Thanks for having me. I'm excited. I feel like I had so much to say when I was watching, an episode of this podcast yesterday, the one where Brittany goes to India for the first time. And I was just thinking, like, after looking at all of our childhood pictures, it was so nostalgic, but also so crazy how things have changed so dramatically in the last 30 years, not even 30, the last 5-10 years. It's just, mindsets have shifted, and, we've evolved. And by we, I mean, the family that I grew up in. So, like Prem mentioned, some for really good, some maybe not, so good, but that's subjective. So, to each his own. But Prem, I, was thinking yesterday that I was the first child who was in this country in our family.
That's crazy. I didn't even think about it. Like, were you here before?
I was here before anyone.
How was that for you?
You know, I had just turned 5, so I was very young, but thankfully, great memory. So I remember feeling very like homesick. You know, we all lived together. We lived in a joint family. And what that means is in Punjabi culture, or a lot of Indian families, actually, they have joint families where all the brothers, the parents, and then all their children, especially the males, because the daughters get married and go off to their own homes of their husbands, and the brothers all live together, and then their wives come, and then their children. And so it was a joint family. And, you know, of course, there's some scenarios where it's not always the best situation, but overall, I am just always so thankful that I grew up in that unit. But anyway, so here I was going from, you know, all of my cousins and who I always grew up knowing and thinking and believing and being told that they were my siblings, not my cousins, you know? And so I remember coming here and feeling so isolated, you know, here it was just so almost so claustrophobic. Like everything was so much smaller and like small scale, and nobody really saw each other. It was like everybody was always working. And but before I knew it, I had a new brother and little cousin born within, you know, 9 months, and I got busy with them. But, you know, yesterday on my ride home from your guys' place, I was really thinking like, wow, I was the first child in our family to come here. You know, yes, we have children that's my cat, hello. That yes, we have, you know, many of our cousins and many of our family members were born here, but a lot of us were born in India, and then we immigrated here with our families. But my dad, I believe, was one of the first brothers to come here, and my mom and I were the first family members. Well, we had an aunt and uncle that were here, but we lived together. And I remember Prem and Brittany, the first time I visited back home, I think I was in 2nd grade. So a few years later, we went back home. And there was so few Indians in this area, or people of color even, that we were going home from the Delhi airport, and I was asleep in my mom's lap. And I woke up and I looked around, and I said to my mom in Punjabi, I said, "Oh my God, Mom, there's so many Indian people here." And she laughed at me, and she was just like, "Oh, that's because we're in India." And, you know, I think like I was just too young to understand the whole concept of things, but eventually it, you know, kind of made sense. But when Prem asked me, how did that make you feel? I'm not sure. Sometimes I think as a child, I felt guilty for like, you know, living this other life, and like my cousins who I thought of as my siblings living, you know, in India without like the things that I had access to, you know. So, but it was nice that I got to visit often.
You know, it's interesting. But before
Yeah.
we even get to my experience of as a kid, you talk about a joint family.
Mhm.
And we talk about a lot of things on this channel, and we will be, you know, we're early on. And
Yeah.
I think a joint family or community is one thing that I believe in very strongly. In today's world and culture, we've come to a place where there is no community, there is no family, there is no friendships. Again, there are some people that it still exists, but I'm
Mhm.
talking about more in a grander
Predominant.
scheme of
Right.
society, just in general. You
Right.
know, people don't get along with each other, be it over political
Mhm.
views, other views. People are so divided that we've become a society where we've been separated through the programming that we get, from all the teachings we get. You know, we've been programmed in a way where we think that it's good to be independent, no family, and just I'm right, I'm always right.
Right.
Hey, Sean. Uh, Sean's just in the chat, Long Island Audit.
Okay.
Hey, Sean.
Thanks
We had,
for
we had done a little reaction to your arrest, and now we saw that we actually had gone live at the same time as you. So we're really looking forward to catching up on what you had said in your live. But we were out here fighting for you and going to be sounding, you know, the alarm about you being unlawfully arrested. And I would agree, based on my watching of it, that it was an unlawful arrest. And I'm glad to see from your title, you will be seeking federal lawsuit.
Yeah, no, Sean, thanks for everything you do. Greatly appreciate you putting yourself out there. And today, when we saw you were arrested, we're like, let's talk about it. Let's bring awareness. And that is the thing that we can do for each other when we see injustice, bring awareness to it. If you can, you know, depending on what's going on, no one's obligated to. But so we just want to say thank you for everything you do. You are a true example and have influenced my way of thinking about a lot of things from watching your videos. Yeah, no, we're definitely, let's plan a weekend. We can do a bunch of different projects. I think we can have a fun time doing a podcast. We should definitely do it.
Agreed. I told
but-
Sean he can come on every podcast if he wants. Send him the link over.
Come talk about your trip from India, I guess, too, if you want to jump on this one. But back to what I was saying was the family dynamic and the community dynamic. You know, we've lost it as a society for a big part of it. And what happens, we lose our support system. And when we're individual, it's a lot harder to grow. Don't get me wrong. When you're in a community, there's a lot of things that you have to deal with, a lot of problems, issues, and other things. But at the same time, when you have a community, for example, when we were growing up as kids, I came to America when I was 10 years old. I had aunts. My mom didn't drive, didn't speak English. My dad was busy working. I had aunts who were driving me to places. I had cousins who were doing things for me. And having that close family right next to each other, there not being a difference between, hey, that's my cousin. It was, we were all brothers and sisters. Everyone cared for everyone. Because we were together, we were able to help each other grow. My dad and uncles help each other rise through together and grow together instead of individually. And that really help big time. And whenever something goes wrong, there's always 25 people that got your back that you can go to no matter what. They love you, they care for you. You make your mistakes, you know, they'll still take you back. That is a huge thing that we lack in today's society overall. We've kind of gone away from it. So I think it was a really cool experience growing up in that environment. And being able to experience that, because I think it influences a lot of the way I think and process stuff today. I can see that us being divided doesn't really work, you know, overall for society. And Simi and I had probably many fights. I don't remember many, but we probably did.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say fights, but I think that we just had a lot of like almost falling outs over things that really weren't directly to do with us, or, you know, just like things, misinterpretations. But I'm so glad that, you know, we've rekindled this relationship, as I have with many others in the family. But, you know, like everything you say, 100%, I don't think that I would be who I am without the family that I grew up in. And I am thankful for it every day. And, you know, I joke to my friends, you know, when I put my phone on Do Not Disturb, there's 20 people that can still disturb me, and they're all my family. So when people are like, why do you have so many? I'm like, well, you don't understand. It's like my dad, and then his brother, and then his brother, and then one cousin from each family. Like, you have to be able to reach me, you know? So, and same thing when I was in the 3rd grade, my teacher gave us an assignment. We were supposed to write a letter addressed to our siblings. And I sat there for a little bit and I started writing names. And then my teacher came over and she was like, what's wrong? And I said, well, I ran out of space. I have like 20 something names to write. And she was like, you have 20 something siblings? And I was like, yeah, you know, like they're not all here. They're all in India. But yeah. And she was so confused, as was I, because she was telling me they weren't my siblings, you know? So yeah, it's really interesting to kind of look back on it. And Prem said something interesting yesterday, how, you know, life is just full circle, and it's full circle for us right now.
Yep. No, I would say it's full circle for me. I moved to US when I was 10 years old, 9, 10. And when I came here, I didn't speak a word of English. I was a little kid, going into end of third grade into fourth grade, and just being here. And when I got here, I was like, I have to run away from my culture. I have to run away from my culture. And over the years, I pushed back and I pushed back, and I kind of went away from the culture more and more. I used to wear a turban. I used to have my hair long. At one point, I cut that. And, I thought I was doing the right things, or, what I really wanted. And over time of just going through and just when I had my troubles, just overall mental health stuff came up and everything else during 2020 for me. I really realized, and once I started thinking, like, the culture is what brings us together. The culture is what identifies us, and a lot of times we're programmed to think certain ways, and we kind of run away from it. And so I ran away from the culture, and now I'm back in the culture. And I would say I have a adopted mixed culture. I have my American culture and I have my Indian culture, and now it's combined together to become one.
And here I
And
am making Punjabi food in my kitchen as a 30-something-year-old who lives alone with a cat. Like, who would have thought, right?
yeah, no, it's crazy. What are you making?
So I made actually Prem's favorite sabzi. It just kind of happened. I had 3 pounds of baby potatoes and I peeled them all and then I cut them up and I made your favorite sabzi. I was going to save you some.
All right, perfect.
But I'm making sandwiches out of them. So like I made the sabzi, but I have all this bread that is going to expire soon and I really just hate food waste. So I think I'm going to make like little like aloo sandwiches. Aloo is potato. And then I made paneer. I'm making a salad. I'm going to make rice. I go on these cooking frenzies, as Brittany and Prem know.
Yeah. So, Britt, what's your thoughts on the whole culture, joint families or communities together? You've been part of our family for now a few years. You've seen how it works all together. Even this day, my dad and his brothers, they're together. It's still a joint community. We're still there for each other. I will do anything for my cousins, and they'll do anything for me. And like Simi said, we didn't grow up as cousins. We grew up as brothers and sisters. That was very weird for me. When people would be like cousin, and I'd be like, no, brother, sister. And even now, I call my cousins my brothers or sisters, and people are like,
Yeah.
how many brothers or sisters do you have? And then I have to explain it like, hey, that's how I grew up.
I do the same thing, like nieces, nephews, sister-in-law. I say Brittany is my sister-in-law, and people will be like, oh, your brother, which brother? And I'm like, oh, Prem. And they're like, oh, but he's your cousin. And I'm like, oh God, here we go,
So,
But then I explain it. I say, like, for me, he's my sibling because that's just who he is to me, as your dad, is, I wouldn't just consider him my dad's brother. He's my Thayachi, right? Like he's like a father figure for me. And if my dad doesn't answer the phone, I call him, sometimes I call him first.
That's crazy. So, Britt, what's your thoughts on the whole community and family and seeing it live?
I mean, this is one of those topics I could probably go on forever about. I mean, like a really long time, because I've noticed so much about it over the years. I think, like, in general, I come from a culture where, families are loyal to each other, and you have your sister and your brother's back and your uncle, and you have to say yes, ma'am, if it's an uncle. And I'm sorry, you definitely don't do that. Yes, sir, if it's an uncle. Yes, ma'am, if it's a aunt or whatever. And so there were some similarities between the culture that I come from growing up in South Louisiana, but then there were some huge differences. Like, for example, the culture I come from, at least today, it's like people, they do move out of their parents' house at some point, and they have their own house, and it's kind of a rite of passage where it's like you live away and apart from your parents. And one thing that I noticed very early on in, like, I guess Punjabi culture, maybe just Indian culture in general, was that especially the sons of the family would not move out. They would kind of stay with their parents and then have kids, and everybody would live in that house together. And I know there's some European countries that do this. Germany does this, but that's kind of like not as common. And so, you know, on the surface, it's like, okay, well, that's kind of annoying. Like, I remember definitely wanting to move out of my parents' house. Like, I did not want to be living with them for the rest of my life. But so it's like, you know, especially growing up in the US, like nowhere else, it's like you want to get away from your parents. But now that I see, and I've seen a few babies be born within the family on both my like just American side and sort of the Punjabi American side, I'm like, oh my God, we are really stupid for moving out of our parents' house. We are so stupid. Like, I know someone who's had a baby in the last year, and she lives with her, you know, the child's father, whatever. They live together in this house, and it's Punjabis, and it's like the grandma lives there, the grandpa lives there, everybody lives there together, and everyone's helping take a little bit of the load of like raising the child. And babies have been born on my like American side of the family, like only American, no Punjabi influence. And it's like, I see them having a much harder time on just simple things that would be simple if you did have the support of a community there. And so if only for like babies alone, just like the raising the baby in the house with a community makes so much more sense. Cause it's like with these tablets and these YouTube and this content and this social media out here, like you have to these days, or else the internet's raising your kids. It's tiring. It's exhausting to navigate that. I mean, I'm sure it's scary as well. We don't have kids, obviously, as y'all know, but it's that in and of itself was like the most fascinating part to me, and I truly see the benefit. Of course, there's exceptions to everything, y'all. I mean, I'm not trying to, you know, make a blanket rule. People should do what they want. Mm-hmm. But I'll be just as fine if your parents move right into this house and cook dinner and have family. That's the thing too. Like, we go through so much, and each person goes out in the world each day and does their respective thing. And the world is mean and hateful, and they will stab you in the back, cut your throat, whatever they need to do to get ahead. And that is one thing I've noticed as well about the Punjabi culture in general, exceptions everywhere, is that even if you've gotten in a fight, even if you've gotten in a knockdown, drag out with your cousin, might have got in a fist fight at the wedding because y'all got too drunk or something, like you still do have each other's back. And if some like snake comes creeping around trying to get you to snitch or rat out your own cousin or your own brother or your own whoever, that's just not going to be happening. And it's like, that's such a good part of the communal living as well. It's like you go out in the world, you do what you got to do, you make your little money, but then you come back to your family who knows you and who's always known you and who you can always come back to. And I think it's great. I think it's a great thing. I think that, you know, it's interesting to see as a little bit of an outsider, but kind of also a quasi insider, because I am in your family, but I don't have the same experience of like being born in India or even having my family born there and having all of these like identities to kind of integrate and incorporate into a single, you know, I do, but not the Indian perspective. And it's definitely interesting to see how y'all do it. And each person does it in a different way. Like some people, like Prim said, are running away from this Indian culture, and they're making fun of Indian clothes and food and the smell of the food. Like they're like running away, and they just want to fully embrace only American, whatever that is, culture. And then there's other ones that are like, no, I want to hold on to every single tradition. And then most people, I would say both of y'all, fall a little in the middle, where it's like you take from both and you appreciate things from both, and you also criticize things from both. That's been my experience. I mean, I don't know. I've just been observing. I'm just an observer, really.
I think that you're it's funny you say that. I think that you've like integrated with the family so well in so many ways, but you also don't just observe. I see you implement things. You know, I've been on your couch in tears because of X, Y, and Z, and you've said, well, I'm calling X, Y, and Z in the family to, help with this situation. So
that is true. I will call and delegate a trauma to someone else. That is true.
Yeah,
I sure will.
We've been on that couch many times. So
like, I know who can answer this question.
Yeah. So
Prim.
you're
And Sammy's like, no, he's working. I'm like,
Yep. So I see you, I see you picking up on things and,
that's a
saying,
good point. Another thing that I've like learned about and it's allowed me to reframe is like I had kind of pretty much rejected any and every type of like not gender role, but it came from gender roles. Like anything that was like prescribing like, oh, that person has to do this role or that person has to do this job or whatever within a dynamic or within a relationship. I still do believe that. I don't think that people should be assigned roles based on gender for the most part. But each person within a family dynamic does like sort of vibe at a certain frequency. And there are certain people who are better equipped to handle certain things. Like, I don't know which one of y'all were saying it, but somebody's like, I think it was Prim. He's like, somebody in the community or the family is a mechanic, somebody is a heart doctor, somebody is a anesthesiologist, somebody is a dermatologist, somebody owns a construction company, and it's like each person kind of gives what they're able to give and participates and kind of contributes how they are best able to in the perfect way. Obviously things go awry from time to time, but that's been one thing that I've been able to reframe. Like, no, it is okay for people to help their family and their community out based on what they're actually good at.
Yeah.
That's the other thing about communities. Like growing up, I grew up with a father figure who was an economist. Growing up, I grew up with a father figure who was a phenomenal business manager, business person. I grew up with uncle who was like a father who was great in mechanics and putting everything together. I grew up with people that were good at driving and driving people around and doing things like that. And each person used their strengths, and that's what they offered to the community. So whenever someone's car was messed up, you know who you were calling. Whenever something needed to be fixed, you know who you were calling. If you needed to talk about business, you know who you're calling.
If you need a ride to the airport, you know who you're calling.
If you need a ride to the airport, you know who you're calling.
Yeah, and that's a love language in itself.
It is. If you have to go to JFK especially.
Yeah, and somebody really loves you if they're driving you 2 hours to the airport.
It's true. And then back by themselves.
Even that, like never having to worry about, hey, am I going to be able to get a ride, or how am I going to get to the airport, or who's going to take me to the hospital, or who am I going to ask? Who am I going to trouble? When you're living in a community environment like that, you don't have to. There is always someone, because there is someone available and someone will do it. And it's not inconvenience. We had a family member who had to go for a procedure on Friday to the hospital, and that person's not even very closely related overall if you look at it, but Simi by American culture it would be it was someone's wife's mom taking her to the hospital, but Simi went on Friday and went to the hospital and did everything.
Yeah, and I remember someone saying to me like, oh, like, we're sorry, like we know it's your day, and I'm like, listen, like even if it wasn't my day off, like I was gonna do it. It's just what we do. Yeah.
So when you first went to school, we can talk about this forever, and maybe we should just do a 20-minute segment here and there all over and just pick a topic.
Maybe people could also drop in the comments or the live chat, if you're here watching on the live chat, just some future questions that y'all are wondering or thoughts you're having as well, because we could probably, like Prim said, talk about this forever. I mean, each individual on this chat could probably talk about this forever based on their perspectives. So y'all can drop that too in the live chat or the comments. Also did link Simi's nutritionist Instagram page in the description box if y'all want to follow her after this as well.
Thanks, y'all. I try to post recipes as much as I can, a lot of food pictures, but feel free to DM me if you have questions about any of the food I post. Thank you.
Yeah, Simi's our cook. She cooks for us. She feeds us.
I feed everyone, you know, and then that's something I got from the family also, you know.
But
We
so
talked about that actually on the India live stream we did about how it's like everywhere you go, it's tea. I mean, you
Yep.
can't go to the damn store to buy a piece of fabric without them
Without
offering you
tea.
some tea.
And refreshments, right? Like other food and whatnot.
Yeah, it's always tea and snacks, biscuits, chips, other
Pakora.
items.
But Prem, you were saying when I first went to school, what was your question?
yeah, I was asking, how was that experience for you when you first went to school?
You
How
mean,
was
like, when I
it?
first started kindergarten?
Yeah, when
here?
you started kindergarten,
Yeah,
because you
so
started in kindergarten, I started in, fourth grade, and fourth grade I started in.
Right.
So it was different
Well,
experiences. So I wonder what yours was like.
Well, we came here towards the end of the school year when we moved to America. So they enrolled me in kindergarten starting September, so I had the entire summer off. But no one at home spoke English, and I didn't have any friends, and really didn't watch any. I didn't understand anything, so I only spoke Punjabi. And I remember a few nights before school started, my parents, my dad, and my uncle specifically drilled a few sentences into my head, and they were, "I am hungry. I have to go to the bathroom. I don't feel good." And let me tell you, I used that "I don't feel good" every day for about a month to come home, because I would feel so homesick as soon as I would get there. And I would, go to the nurse. I figured it out day one that you say you don't feel good, they send you home. And I came home every day until my parents kind of caught along and said, "Okay, we can't do this anymore." Eventually, I think I started making friends, but I was in ESL, English as a second language, for 6 months, and graduated and went on to, be the family translator, at doctor's appointments and phone calls. So I think it was a lot of pressure as a child, but it was also so nice, to be that person, to be able to give your parents the insight to this world, this big, like, new world.
Yeah, no, your experience was different a little bit. You started in kindergarten too, so you were able to. But when I came over, I remember it was like going into third and fourth grade. I didn't
Yeah.
speak a word of English, and you're kind of basically thrown in. And they had put me in class with this Punjabi kid who was
Mhm.
supposed to help me. But I don't know how, but it might be the mothership downloads that I got. But within 6 months of going to school, and just going through it, I learned English fully, and, it came in, I had my accent a little bit and other things I was still learning, but overall, I got a pretty good grasp of English within my first year, and they moved me out of ESL, and then it was fine. But I do remember, like, it's very difficult going into school as a third, fourth grader and not knowing a word, not knowing how to ask for anything, how to do anything. And it was one of the,
I mean, it's difficult as it is, right? Like a child going into a new school, but imagine just, not knowing the language, the culture, the people, the education system. India is just so, so, so different. So it was a complete 180. So I know that for me, at least, I was going in with a group of children who were also starting kindergarten. Yes, I didn't know the language, but they were also new to the environment. For you, these children had kind of formed bonds and friendships, and you're going in as the new person. So I can imagine that must have been challenging for you, but kudos to you for just beating right through it and getting acclimated.
yeah, no, I think that's one of the, I would say, strengths or powers that I have. I can be put into any environment and I can adapt very quickly. And I didn't realize it at the time, but I realize it now.
Yeah.
What a great skill or asset or to have, that you can just blend in, putting into environment. So I've been able to do that really well, and I'm blessed. Thank God that I'm able to do that.
Yeah.
It's true strength. But with that, I think we've been on for about an hour. We can cut out today here, and then definitely plan on other conversations and other things. Like BJ said, if someone wants to leave it in the comments, any questions they might have, that they would like, or topics that they would like us to discuss just from our background. And then we can kind of do it, our perspectives, and then get Britt's perspective on it. And then also kind of get her experience, same stuff, and see how it was for her. So with that being said, thank you for joining us, guys. Thanks, Simi.
Thanks for having me, guys.
And with that, we'll be out. Bye.